Someone who's always been in the forefront of that support for the former president is Carl Niehaus. He joins me now on the line. Mr. Niehaus, a very good evening to you. Thanks for taking our call. Your response, of course, to the decision by Correctional Services.
Good evening. Well, of course, we are happy that President Zuma is being released on medical parole, but I must hasten to add that President Zuma should never have been in prison, and this medical parole is still a conditional parole, which is still continuing to be unacceptable. President Zuma should have been released unconditionally. But okay, he has been released on medical parole, so we will take it forward from there. But the manner in which President Zuma has been abused by the legal system and the manner in which the legal system has been used and abused by factional politicians is not changed by this particular decision to grant him medical parole.
Mr. Niehaus, you're saying that you're not satisfied with the fact that the former president, there are conditions that are attached to his being placed on medical parole. Why shouldn't it be different for the former president when, in actual fact, the rules would obviously need to apply, whether you're talking about a former president or anybody else?
Well, you know, and I know that President Zuma was arrested and imprisoned not on a legal case, but on a legal procedure, which there are many indications that the Constitutional Court had erred. Those matters still has to be aired further, because we have to make it clear that we believe that President Zuma has been illegally imprisoned, that the whole process was in terms of his human rights.
But Mr. Niehaus, that was the decision. That was the decision of the Constitutional Court, the apex court, the highest court in the land.
Well, you get excited about exactly that part, the apex court, the highest court. That is exactly part of the problem. President Zuma was imprisoned by a court that doesn't allow or provide the opportunity for him to have a proper appeal. That was part of the problem right from the beginning. Secondly, this was not a trial. It was a legal procedure. And in terms of the Commissions Act, President Zuma should really never have received anything what is tantamount to a prison sentence. May I remind you that the former apartheid state president, B.W. Botha, was given a slap on the wrist and a small fine when he refused to appear in front of the Truth and Reconciliation Commission on a matter which is far more serious than anything in terms of this procedural process against President Zuma.
Yeah,
President Botha was a criminal. He was a person who committed crimes against humanity. But an apartheid government was in place to repress our people, but now an ANC government and courts under an ANC government has imprisoned President Zuma illegally in terms of procedures that are both locally and internationally in terms of human rights.
Mr. Niehaus, I wish I had time to challenge you a little bit on that, but unfortunately we're running out of time. Do you know what the current condition is of the former president? We understand that he's still in hospital. Do you know how he's doing?
Well, let me first of all say I wish you did have time to challenge me, because I have got a lot more to say about the illegality of the manner in which President Zuma has been treated.
You've previously ventilated those opinions before, Mr. Niehaus. Do you know how the former president is doing?
I have ventilated them and I'll continue to ventilate them. As far as I know, President Zuma is recovering. It is an indication that President Zuma is not well and that he had undergone surgical procedures, that although the medical parole has been granted, that he's not yet able to be released from hospital. That situation, we hope, will come to an end soon, and I can assure you, the day President Zuma goes back to his residence in Kandla, we will be there in our numbers to welcome him and to express our continuing support for him on the one hand, and on the other hand, our outrage at what had been done to him.
Just before I let you go again, Mr. Niehaus, I mean, we saw the disruption of the speech of Gwede Mantashe at the funeral of Kebi Mapatwe. I mean, that particular situation, does that not continue to show what you've been talking about, continuous divisions within the African National Congress?
Well, the members of Umkhonto weSizwe Military Veterans Association, under the leadership of our president, departed president, Comrade Kebi Mapatwe, has always called the imprisonment of President Zuma illegal and has always opposed it. Those MKMVA members who came into that funeral meeting and expressed their views had the right and the legitimacy to do so. We do take exception to the manner in which the leadership of the African National Congress had dealt with this matter. And we take our lead from President Zuma when he said in a meeting with the top 6 of the ANC, and specifically to President Cyril Ramaphosa, you have not protected me, you have thrown me under the bus, you have allowed legal processes to be dealt with in a factional manner and abused the law in order to target me. And President Zuma said to the top 6, you have used the Commission of Inquiry into State Capture as a tool to target me. In fact, he said that commission had been set up in order to target Zuma first and foremost. And that was also confirmed, I may hasten to add, by the former public protector, Advocate Thuli Madonsela, who acknowledged that the commission was first and foremost set up to target President Jacob Zuma.
Mr. Niehaus, I'm sure, will you be at Nkandla when the former president arrives home?
If it's at all possible for me, I will move heaven and earth to be there to welcome President Jacob Zuma back, and also to continue, as I've said to you just now, to express my outrage at the injustice that had been committed against him.
Carl Niehaus, thank you very much indeed for joining us this evening on The Full View.